Hello everybody, welcome back. This is just going to be kind of a off-the-cuff video. Popped up in my newsfeed today that uh, today in 2017, 8 years ago, was the final performance by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And it was played at the Hollywood Bowl. Tom Petty would obviously finish his career very successfully and would then unfortunately and tragically pass away just a week later. And very, very just shocking and upsetting to the whole music community. And I don't just mean on YouTube, I mean just throughout the musical landscape. This was a ripple effect that was felt amongst so many different people. Tributes poured in. And I just want to kind of make this video a brief, why I miss Tom Petty kind of video. Um, we all have, celebrity passings and things like that. And I know that I've done several videos on Tom Petty and have had my thoughts known publicly about my love of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, of Tom Petty as a musician, as a writer, as a singer, as a just a cool persona. And I will always say Tom Petty, to me, is the coolest person that's ever walked. Um, and again, we all have those musical artists, whether, it's an icon or somebody that's up and coming that passes away, like your Amy Winehouses or your Janis Joplin's, your 27 Club folks, your Hendrix, all these people. And then there's also the legends, that have passed away. The John Lennons, the um, you know Elvises, and the people that are on this like icon status. And for me, Tom Petty is on that platform. But we all have these people that we still can't fully get over. And I know, watching a lot of channels, I've heard other people mention theirs. Um, John Lennon's obviously one that comes to mind. He was not around in my lifetime, so I don't have that same effect, though I, will obviously say that that was a tragic event. But for me, the sting, the celebrity loss comes strongest with Tom Petty. And I'll never forget. I was working at the time. I was shortly after. It was a year or two after I got out of college. I was working up at a lodge on the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia, and I was working in a gift store. And I remember not having great cell phone service up there, and even the internet was not great either on my smartphone. But I remember seeing the news coming across on my Facebook and just not believing it at all. I mean, at that point, I was a diehard Tom Petty fan. I had all, I was collecting all of his records. I was a huge Traveling Wilburys fan. I was really big into Hypnotic Eye, the last Heartbreakers album, and then Mudcrutch 2. I was big into that. And I remember just not believing the headlines um, and then the back and forth of the you know did he pass away, did he not, he's still in the hospital bed, he actually didn't pass away, he's still fighting for his life. So you had things going back and forth in the news. And I was just had this hope. And I remember finally when it was confirmed, just staring blankly out the window of the gift store. And it was obviously the fall, it was our peak season. So it was very busy, but I remember just like finding those moments of just, having to smile for people, customers that would come in when I did not feel like any of that. And I never met Tom Petty. I never got to see Tom Petty. That's my biggest musical regret, is I never got to see Tom Petty. And again, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are my favorite American musical band. Um, more than the Beach Boys, more than any of the newer bands I like the Avett Brothers, the Wood Brothers, um, the Lemon Twigs. They are, to me, the greatest American rock and roll band. The Byrds, Tom Petty is it for me. They're number one. And I know, just like listening to those Tom Petty songs, and then listening to his Buried Treasure show on the Tom Petty radio station on Sirius XM, just being like, he's not gone. Um, but knowing that he's never going to make new music, and that we have other heartbreakers that are out there making music. Thankfully, we still have Mike Campbell putting out those great rock and roll records with the Dirty Knobs. He's got 3 of those. We have Benmont Tench, who shows up on sessions still, who occasionally will play live shows, has a new record out. We have Stan Lynch, the original drummer. He's out with the Speaker Wars and a new band, and he produces and he plays. And Steve Ferroni, the drummer, is playing with Mike Campbell, and just there are traces of Petty, but it's nothing that will come after will match the Tom Petty that I love, that you all love. And he's just one of those guys that still leaves a gaping hole in the musical landscape. And when I see clips of him, when I see the funny interviews that he did, when I watch live footage, when the Tom Petty estate puts out a new box set, or a deluxe edition of one of his records, I'm always like, I wish Tom could be here to help promote it. I wish Tom could have been here to do a 30th anniversary of the Wildflowers album and tour it, which is what he was planning to do. I wish Tom could be here to promote the Fillmore box that came out. I wish he could be here for the Heartbreakers Beach Party documentary that came out last year, or earlier this year, with Cameron Crowe. Just so many things that Petty himself would have been so great at promoting and talking about, that we'll unfortunately never get. But yeah, just he is the guy to me that I will always miss. He's the guy that had such a huge impact on me that it's very hard to say that anybody else is going to come close. I mean, the thing is, Petty was 67 when he passed away. I'm going to be sad when we lose, the Paul McCartneys, the Bob Dylans. I love Bob Dylan. I love Brian Wilson. He just passed. But, those guys are in their 80s. And we know it's coming. We know it's going to be sad. But Petty was 67. You think about it. Petty was, 17 years younger than Bob Dylan is now. And Dylan's still going strong. Hopefully we get another 4 or 5 years out of Dylan, and Paul McCartney, and Ringo is 85. Just think, we could have had 17 or 18 years for Petty to live a natural life, and to get more Heartbreakers records, to get more tours, to get special tours, to get box sets, and interviews, and all these different things that that we're just never gonna get. Again, thankful for the time that Petty gave us, thankful for the work that he put out there, but I still miss Tom Petty. So let me know what you all think. I'm just kind of melancholy over Tom Petty today, and just wanted to share a few of my thoughts with you all. So that does it for me. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.